My first game took 8 months, and that was from a tutorial. My first experience programming anything at all or making games was from Thunkable. Thunkable is a no code platform, and it sucks. No code isn't something that I would get started with whatsoever. I think it's a waste of time. Thunkable it's something that looks attractive, but it's as soon as you get into it, you'll realize that there's not a lot of great community answers. There's no Reddit for Thunkable whatsoever. And so, if you want to get started in gaming or developing games, rather, then I would seriously consider Unity or C. Sorry, or Unreal Engine, which uses C++. The thing about Thunkable is that I don't really think that it's great for making games. It might be good for making other apps on the platform, but as far as making games, it's really not beneficial whatsoever. I actually have a Thunkable Reddit, uh, whatever it's called, subreddit, and I manage that, and I literally tell everyone that's willing to make games on Thunkable to literally use Unity because it's so awful. And if anyone actually legitimately makes money using Thunkable creating games, please comment below because I'm very curious. My experience with Unity has been fairly decent so far. Using C Sharp is pretty easy. I say easy. Done it for I've done it for a year, and I'm still a beginner. I'm not. There's no way I'm a pro. But the thing is that when you're getting into C Sharp, you're gonna have to understand that you're like the best people that make games know all of C Sharp. It's really hard to just get by with the Unity documentation of C Sharp. It's also very good to like either take a class. Code Academy has a great thing out there for C Sharp where you can literally learn for free. So I absolutely recommend that. Um, and if you know other coding languages, obviously you can implement other things, other settings, whatever, physics into Unity. There's this great guy on YouTube called Dev or something like that, and he made this whole like character controller thing, player movement, whatever script, and it doesn't use like any of the rigid bodies, and I believe all the physics are coded and stuff like that. It's very fantastic. But he would have never gotten there just using the documentation from Unity. He knows C Sharp as like a whole. Like Microsoft, he probably understands like Microsoft's documentation and stuff like that. I'm sure he's got like either a degree in it or he's just worked with it for a very long time. And that's very important. Whenever you're getting started into programming or game development, I absolutely recommend using the Unreal Engine and starting with C++. C++ is great, and especially if it's going to take you a year to code, you're obviously going to do way better and get way farther learning C++ because as soon as you know that, you are pretty much golden for any other coding language. It's very useful, and as soon as you like are familiar with the syntax, it becomes a lot easier for you to read other coding languages. And that's basically the benefit of C++. Also, people build a lot of fucking cool things using C++. And you can find a lot of like cool videos on YouTube where this guy builds like a game engine in 48 hours. No, it's not that easy. He just really knows what he's doing. Or like a game, like someone built a Minecraft game in like 48 hours. And I'm just like, dang, like that's some sick stuff, you know? Using C++, you can make a game engine using C sharp, and there's someone that did on YouTube, but that's really C++ is by far the way to go. And I think C sharp is just like a great tool or a great add-on for another program, as would be like JavaScript or Python or something like that, you know? Um, so yeah, that's about it. Let's see. I talked about my game let me talk about my game. I mentioned my game that took me 8 months. So whenever I started coding, I looked up this tutorial, Brackeys tutorials on for Unity, and they're actually very good. They're probably the best tutorials on YouTube. And then you have like, there's this. I can't remember his name. I'll put him up there. But anyway, everyone talks about it like a bunch of Swedish guys using Unity and stuff like that. That's basically very true. Except for like Jason Whiteman or something like that. He's pretty good too. He's got like a lot more explanation and stuff. But whenever you're using like Brackeys, sometimes they have like little chapters or whatever they're called on YouTube. And so with I know some of his like later videos, uh, and I think Danny Crossing, and I might be thinking of Danny Crossing that has his chapters. I don't know when that feature came out for YouTube, but Brackeys stopped doing YouTube in like 2019. But he's a great person to get started with. And even though it's like old code that you might be messing with, so if you get like a video that's like 2 to 3 years, you're probably still pretty good. That's usually what I did, and I was still fine. My syntax was still okay. And usually, if you update to a new version of Unity, Unity will actually update the syntax in the scripts, which is fantastic. So it's really great to work with. Very user friendly. So yeah, and I haven't used any other like game engines yet. I am going to go to the Unreal Engine next, but like there's a few couple things I want to finish first before I end up doing that. Anyway, so um, basically, Unity is something that's fairly it's not a huge learning curve, and the community out there is pretty amazing. My first game took 8 months, following a tutorial, but I actually implemented a few changes. And honestly, I thought I was kind of dumb, but there's a great video on YouTube where this actually might be Code Monkey, where he talks about like following tutorials on YouTube doesn't mean like it's going to, if the tutorial is like 10 minutes or whatever, it doesn't mean it's going to take you 10 minutes to create the game. Like you've got to get familiar with the gaming engine itself if you're going to, you know, be creating games. You got to give yourself a little bit of time to actually learn how everything works, how prefabs work, what the hierarchy is, the file system in Unity and stuff like that. It's not like an NTFS or FAT thing. I just mean like the way they have their files, organized and stuff like that. The assets folder is basically what I'm talking about. And you have to get yourself used to the settings and stuff like that, the project settings, how to use time and the fixed update and all of that stuff. Like those are important things to learn, and no one's going to get it in a day. And if you're following a 20-minute video on Unity, it doesn't mean that your project is going to take 20 minutes. Those people have been doing it for a long time. They know exactly what they're doing. Okay? The best videos to follow are the people that fucking explain the syntax. That's it. If they don't explain the syntax, and if they do not explain what the code is actually doing, I do not recommend watching their video, because you're just going to be typing in something that you have no idea what it does, except like the output is going to be, oh, it's going to do this thing. Well, you need to figure out what every single like keyword in there does. That's what you need to figure out. And then you'll be able to use those keywords for other functions and other methods and attributes and parameters and all of that crap. So that's important um, to know when you're creating your game. So that's a lot. That's a lot. But anyway, I think that's it. I think that's it. Um, this is a weird devlog. I guess it's a devlog. I don't know. But the title is probably going to be my experience with game development. First time, whatever. I don't know. Y'all have fun. I'll see you guys in the next video.